in
Oh,
Florida?
no. Jeff Green.
It was,
That was a different guy. I was just giving an example of like a corporate guy who I don't really trust corporate people. And
yeah, me
especially
neither. I
this
think
guy is
broadly,
rather
I think definitely broadly, like a lot of Americans, they do not trust corporate people. All right, we're going to move
no.
on to our second to last story today of the day. And in the Atlantic, Elenia Plot published what she described as a piece about why it's so annoying when people sneer at so-called access journalism. Yeah, and she actually went there in defense of access journalism. If you don't know what access journalism is, it's kind of the principle, the kind of the sneering term. Yes, it's sneering, and I definitely do sneer at it. When pretty much what happens is people trade access. Like, if you're nice to someone, you get access. Like, that's pretty much. Maggie Haberman is someone who does a lot of access journalism for the New York Times. Like, she's very much like in defense of people. Like, she comes to bat for people, and those people are very often her sources. That's why you see her getting pulling up so many scoops. It's pretty much you're nice to people when you write about them in exchange for more access, and that could be a very, very, very dangerous situation. Plot's piece is defense of access journalism by way of praising Richard Ben Kramer's book, What It Takes. In Kramer's book, she says, it showed Bush as not someone above us, but someone who considers our nation's most explosive secrets, who connects with foreign leaders via direct line, but as one of us. She thinks apparently that Bush is one of us. Again, I mean, was James? I don't know about you, but was your father Prescott Bush, a senator from Connecticut, an investment banker? Did you go to Yale? And were you in Skull and Bones? Were you hired by a firm whose board members included your father? By age 40, were you a millionaire, or by today's math, $8 million an air, whatever it is. And it's just that's the point. Like, that's the idea. If you see politicians as one of us, like, it does not accurately reflect, it's not based in fact, and it lies to the American people on a daily basis.
Oh yeah, definitely. Um, Prescott Bush, yeah, I didn't even know about that one about the Prescott Bush either.
Yeah.
And I think that's wow. By 40, he had a lot of money. By 40, that sounds similar to our president actually, with the wealth. Um, he was really actually against the idea of Planned Parenthood. Yet she was rather active though in Planned Parenthood. I do remember that. But he made a lot of money with his banking corporation, Union Banking, which is in Connecticut. And I think that's definitely interesting to see that he really had a pretty high net worth over his life. I'm not really too shocked that he did, however. But who was the lady you were talking about before as well?
Elena Plott. She's like a Atlantic defense. She's an Atlantic writer, and she's like, access journalism is it's very good, and like we should keep doing it. And like the point is, like, we are just not accurately representing these people if we do that, and it's very hard
Yeah,
because
no.
it's hard to get access to people if you like write bad things about them. But it's just kind of the way it has to work. Um, so yeah, in the days since Bush's death on November 30th, this is a quote from the article. His family, friends, and the reporters who covered him have told their own stories about the times they saw Bush do what any man might do. Write thank you notes, remember birthdays, bond with grandkids. Like, that's just what a normal human does. Like, I'm sorry, I don't get,
Yeah.
like, you don't want to, he's so special, he bonds with his grandkids and writes thank you notes. Yeah, each story is a way for its teller to reflect in ways people do not typically do now with respect to politicians on Bush's humanity and on fortune and how fortunate they felt for that bit of privilege. I glanced what lay beneath the veneer. Like, like it's amazing. She's like so shocked. Like, what? He had human grandchildren? No way. Like, that's incredible, and that's just very, very misleading. It's very, very bad, and it just gives people. It's a favoring a politician that kind of acts like the trading access for favorable, unnecessarily favorable journalism. It's a big, big problem with our country, I have to say, and our journalism today. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I think definitely it is a pretty big problem. The journalism right now that we have in our country is rather it's definitely rather. It seems like we're getting a lot more left and right news media instead of media that actually just tells you the news, and also doesn't say it a lot of the news organizations are writing rather strange like news stories, like New York Times is, and even Washington Post and even Fox, like they write like weird ones like the most popular shoe size in America, like what this could mean for like genetics in America. Like, I mean, that's not important. I mean, what's more important is really just national news and what's really kind of happening. And I think that the trust in public news has kind of deteriorated rather quickly, sadly. And I think the reason personally for me as to why it did is because of the basically effectiveness that the news seems to not have anymore, which is definitely rather alarming. So.
Seems like we lost James there for a little bit. I don't know what happened there. Yeah, but still, it's a very interesting point that we make about like access journalism, like what's going on with the truth and everything else like that. It's definitely very tough to deal with and to understand. I don't know if James, if we have you back, then you just like say something there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
okay.
Right here,
yeah. So that's a very interesting point. Yeah, so we're now going to move on to, like, James, I don't know if you want to stay around for this one because it's kind of just an audio clip and you can't really hear it, but, yeah. All right, so big thanks to James there for helping us kick off our new show with the scoop the right way. Now we're going to get to our last story, and it's just a little bit of poetic justice here. Some fun time, and I'm going to play for you, courtesy of Fox News. A Democratic Socialist comes on. Nomiki Konst, who's running for New York City Public Advocate, go support her campaign right now. Former Sanders spokesperson, former journalist, and now running for NYC Public Advocate.
Is a candidate for New York City Public Advocate, and she joins us tonight. Nomiki, thanks a lot for coming on.
Hi, Tucker. How you doing?
I'm great. But I'm a little bit confused. So mostly debates about climate change are one person saying it's real, and the other one's like, we don't really have all the evidence. Granted, I grant everything you say about climate change. I'm just for the sake of this conversation.
Thank you. That's a start.
Yeah, well, okay.
You admit it.
But if you really believe what you're saying, and if Bernie Sanders really believes what he's saying, why is he flying on private planes? I mean, it's a sincere question.
So let's not get distracted from the real issue here.
No,
Issue.
I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to let you off that easily. Why is it not a real issue? If climate change, as Katie Church has told us, is really the only issue that matters, then why aren't we living like it's the only issue that matters?
All right, so first of all, I love this kind of like incredibly like, just because Bernie Sanders flies on a private plane doesn't mean he cares about climate change. Just because he's a car, it's the same thing as saying to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, just because she wears clothes, that means she's not a socialist. And it's just the incredible like, just want to make you like grind your teeth. But we can only really play a few minutes of it because we are kind of short on time here. But yeah, this is the rest of it. And I think I said this on the last episode of Newsflash. I think we need to go here after corporation. We don't need to go after the ordinary people. But what we need to do. Yeah, all right. So it's pretty crazy. We're going to play this again here.
Because it really comes down to the industry. If the industry wants to make planes that exist off of renewable energy rather than oil and gas, then we will all be able to live on this planet. It starts at the industry level, not the consumer.
Exactly. That's literally the point. Like, me and Nomiki Konst must be thinking on, like, a whole nother level here. Because that's exactly what I just... Like, is that not literally what I just said? Because if you think about it here, like, that's what I was thinking. Like, it's so good to see Tucker just, like, absolutely confused. You don't have the video like I have the video. Tucker's like, what? If you ever familiar with Tucker Carlson, look up Tucker Carlson Facebook facial expressions, and it's like a whole new thing because it's on the. She's so right. It's on the industry level, and it's something that they have to deal with before we can do it because we just don't have that power. The industries, the corporations have the power, not the consumers, and they have to use it.
It's really not fair to put the tax on the individual.
It's not fair for someone who's telling us the planet's being destroyed to live in a way that suggests that he actually believes the planet's being destroyed. So I honestly really don't get it. So if you're Al Gore and you say, nothing is more important than climate change, I'm a better person than you are because I care more than you. By the way, I have one of the largest houses in Nashville, and I fly private, and I take a Suburban to the private airport, to the FBO. Why should I be okay? Sincerely, why is that okay?
That is not going to individual choices are not going to solve the disaster that we are facing. We already have a migration issue. We already have flooding. We already have hurricanes that have hit Puerto Rico, have hit New Orleans, have hit Florida, and have displaced so many working people. This is an industry change. We have to cap emissions globally.
But hold on.
And if we don't cap emissions with big industries and policy, then those individual choices mean nothing.
Okay, well, first of all, hold on. First of all, individual choices always mean something.
In a libertarian's fantasy world, sure.
I'm not a libertarian, and I'm not living in a fantasy world. In real life, individual choices matter, or else what's the point of any of this, okay? So it does start with, liberals used to say it starts with one person. I guess they don't anymore because they don't want to be held to their own standards. But
and I really don't get what he's doing. Like, he has one of the largest houses in that. Like, the idea that Bernie Sanders is like some like rich fat cat kind of guy. I don't even know if it's talking. I don't know why Bernie Sanders would have a house in Nashville. Maybe it's like family there, but I don't know. Bernie. I'm just gonna Google Bernie Sanders house in Nashville. This is he said Nashville. His third house. So yeah, Bernie Sanders buys his third house. Yeah, and that's all the that's the crazy thing because all he likes to do is just all people like to do. Like when Mitch McConnell buys a third house, no one cares because they expect it from him. But because he's a socialist, he's not allowed to have a house, even though he's like literally the poorest member of the Senate. Like they're acting like that. The idea that Bernie Sanders is some kind of fat cat guy who's like making the most out of his money in the Senate is absolutely ridiculous, and just another example of just basic stupid smears that just don't work on anyone. It's like, as I said before, it's the same logic. Like, oh, you're not allowed to have clothes if you're a democratic socialist like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. So stupid.
The solutions are always like, ordinary working people ought to pay higher gas taxes.
It's not the solution at all. And actually, we're against that. Progressives versus the neoliberals and neocons, progressives understand that this needs to be a huge policy change. The place where we are right now, if we increase the temperature 1 degree, you and I won't be living in D.C. and New York anymore.
Okay, but
we will be displaced.
No, I want to talk about the public policy.
Money.
Okay,
yes,
I want to talk about the public policy solutions that will flow from the predictions that you're making. Is there any solution you've ever heard of that doesn't increase the price of energy? I've never heard of one.
Well, okay, so if you're going to be focused on the price of energy, we're not going to have a planet in 10 years.
Hold on.
We have to talk about changing.
Wait, hold on. I thought you cared. I thought you cared about working people.
We're going down a rabbit hole. I want to talk about the solutions. The solution would be a Green New Deal, moving to 100% renewable energy, forcing the companies that are jacking up the prices on working people to actually reduce their emissions so that working people aren't displaced, so working people don't have to pay the cost of hurricane damage and have clean water, and the water's not being privatized.
Volume is not the same as an argument, okay? So just really simple question.
You don't like opinionated women, do you?
Yeah, always got to throw that in there. Always got to throw that in there, like the last 1-2 punch, just to, because that's what sets them off. They like when they get sexist, get accusations of sexism. And by the way, talking Tucker Carlson about volume and stupid ways to derail arguments, coming from Tucker Carlson is absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, good job there to Nomiki Khan's absolutely nailing this situation. Nailing it here, getting the exact, just walking right into Tucker Carlson is walking right into the carefully laid trap set by Nomiki Khan, who's actually understanding it. So it's very, very important, very, very interesting to see Nomiki. I'm sure Nomiki Khan will hopefully. Maybe, but I doubt he's going to be invited back. she's going to be invited right back. All right. That does it for us today. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for sticking with us here on The Scoop. We'll be on other platforms. We'll let you know. Right now we're on Spreaker exclusively, but soon, like as in next week or something like that, this upcoming week, we will be on, let's just name them off. We're going to be on, hopefully,